there, it's Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. It is a Wednesday, which means it is Rants Day. Time for me to find something to rant about, and I am in no short supply on rants. And this week's rant is brought to you by Arena Starter Kits. So I wanted to do a Tuesday Brews yesterday of opening up an Arena Starter Kit and upgrading it. Like saying, okay, what can you do to upgrade them? And then I just realized how trashy these decks really are and how they end up being like a deck for nobody. I don't see what the purposes for Arena Starter Kits are except for, you know, trying to have a nice little arena code to get people to then go and play. But these kits are, the Arena Starter Kits are way worse than the decks you even start with on Arena. So it doesn't seem like they have like a point there. If you're going to be joining Arena, they give you some of these decks already that are just, they just seem better. And I'm going to show what I mean after opening these Arena Starter Kits. So they have actually increased the price of these Arena Starter Kits almost by double. There is some interesting opportunities for arbitrage if you really want to put in the work. And when I was poor, about, 6-10 years ago, and really starting the store, I used to find ways to eke out a penny here, nickel here, a dime there for stuff. And I do respect the hustle. But nowadays, with the store established, it really isn't worth my time to do this. But you can break any one of these kits down, any one of the Arena Starter Kits, and actually buy list the cards back to places like Troll and Card Kingdom for more than it costs you at distributor price to actually buy these Arena Starter Kits. Now, the first two Arena Starter Kits were about $4 to buy, distributor price, after all the fees and shipping and whatnot. And this one's up to $6. So it's a $2 price increase. And another reason that I absolutely cannot stand this product is it doesn't seem like it really makes Wizards any money either. This easily costs more to assemble and print than this. So Wizards just makes an insane profit margin on something like collector's boosters, whereas this they're using maybe as a loss leader to try to get into Arena. And I wish if they were going to do that, then maybe they'd add a little more, jazz to this rather than just two decks. They didn't even put a dice with this. It's kind of weird. As a store, I absolutely hate these because now they're expecting us to buy the intro decks, because let's just get this straight. These are just those crappy intro decks they used to send to stores for new players, with the caveat of they actually do put in one or two good rares that are actually useful long term, and I'll show you those in a second. But I mean, it still has the rest of the trash as far as just has like draft trash, like cards I would not even play in draft containing these, and they ended up being kind of a clunky, miserable experience when you actually play them together because the curves are weird, the removal that's paired up against each other is weird, and it just makes a clunky experience. There's way too many lands in them. They have like 7, 6, 5 drops in there. The curve is just absolutely horrid. Whereas I think if you were trying to introduce people into Magic, you'd give them something that's easy on the curve, easy to play, and easy to upgrade. And these are none of the above. And again, it's just such a pathetic assembly here when, this costs less from Wizards of the Coast to make than this. So why are they even making products like this? If they are going to, why don't they just give them to stores they're going to give out? And as a store owner, that's what I can't stand now. I have to buy them. And they're advertising my players away from my own FNMs to go play on Arena with the little Arena kit. So all in all, I absolutely hate this product. I wish this is another product they would discontinue. They don't sell well. You can still buy these. Distributors end up giving these out for freebies. I end up buying, I can't remember what the price I got in on these Arena Starter Kits, but this is the 2020 Arena Starter Kit. And the whole reason I bought them out was because of this bad boy. So Vito, Thorn of the Duskers was going for $5 at the time. You could actually, I think you could Card Kingdom buy list it for almost $4. And I didn't ever get around to doing it because we were having a problem with the foiling. So I've actually got this one in the dehumidifier, or in my case, it actually adds humidity. And this is like the best I've been able to get, this Vito. But if I leave this out, maybe by the end of the video, this sucker is going to be a Pringle again. It's going to be completely curled. And again, we got it down to not too bad. And that is a pro tip. I don't know, MTG Goldfish had a video on how to decurl foils. So the TLDRs, if they curl like this, you have too little humidity, and if they curl inwards, you have too much humidity. So obviously, me living in the desert, I have way little humidity, so they start to curl outward rather than inward. But you can get the little cigar dehumidifiers to actually, or add humidity to actually do a pretty good job. And yeah, that's not bad at all with the Koga. I'd say that actually would be, playable. You could still probably find them in sleeves, but they weren't nearly as bad as they were. So I did end up getting, around to buy listing them. Pretty disappointed that Koglu was in a commander deck because I thought this card also long term would be worth money. But so that's kind of the issue too with these decks, is not do they have just such trash, but then they actually have, like, they tease with these cards that could obviously be valuable. Vito's one of the most played cards in Commander, and Kogla could easily be justified putting in a green deck in Commander. So I mean, they were kind of cool cards to start, but this just ends up being like a product that is just lacking in every area without any sort of direction. So anyway, let's just open up these decks and see what you get, and I'll see what I'm talking about. So I mean, right off the bat, like a Kogla and a Classification. Classification is actually super awkward in like this deck because yeah, you could put it on some small stuff, but you're going up against black that has a lot of removal to begin with, and it ends up being a weird card. Another card that I do like long term, because there always will be some wombo combos like flinging Classification after you put something on it. But you get a Iron Scale Hydra, which is a casual. Anything Hydra is like a dragon. There's always people looking to put these in, build Hydra decks. It's crazy how many Hydra decks we sell here at the store to casual players. Tree Trigger Chimera, another, again, 7-drop, a 7/7 and a 6-drop. Awkward curves. Maybe they wanted these experiences to go long term until a bomb basically, takes over the game. But again, kind of a weird experience. And again, if you're trying to go into arena, what are you gonna actually beat with this? Whereas it could have easily made like more like a Pauper-esque type deck with a lot of uncommons and commons that were actually more synergistic, and it actually would work better. And give people a better experience. So Yorvo is played in Pioneer. It's also played in Commander quite a bit. But so, I mean, the rares aren't too bad. I mean, it's some weird, awkward stuff with curves. But then you get into really weird stuff with like Bristling Boars and Almighty Brushwags. And then again, we have Colossal Dreadmaws and Honey Mammoths, which have insanely high curves, which just guarantees this is going to go a weird, awkward, long game. Things like Humble Naturalists, of course, to ramp into those. But then, I mean, the Tower Scout is very little synergy. It's a 3/3 for 3, I guess. Sure. Got the Lanor Visionaries. These are kind of cool, too. Another reason why this card will never be worth any money, because it's in here. And we got Plummets, because I guess you need to kill their one flyer in their deck. So it gives the answer to their Ish Bomb. And then we have the Ram Throughs, too. At one point, these also did have buy lists. So all in all, the value of the first Arena Starter Kit was actually there. You got a couple cards you can buy list for 3 cents, and cards that actually have real world value that aren't quite bulk, but then you have a lot of just weird, awkward stuff. Titanic Growth, I think, in this particular deck is insanely weird, and you have to use this as pseudo removal because you're not trying to punch through damage on your typical aggro increments. It's always with this mono green, you're trying to get out a big creature and then just win by doing that. So I mean, like Titanic Growth in your Classification seems like stupid, or nothing has trample. So it's very awkward. And they load you with like 26 or 27 lands. And the most pathetic thing about this Arena Starter Kit is it only had a year that it was worthwhile to actually redeem it. It actually expired. And so these were still on the shelf, advertised on the shelf as Arena Starter Kits from distributors. By the time they expired, they were still good. These expired in 2021, the code on here. And I mean, they still were selling them. They're still trying to get rid of them at that point. I'm not sure if I can still get these, but I can definitely get the next iteration. Now this one's also weird. You got these high drops with Demon of Loathing, and then like a Demonic Embrace, which is also kind of awkward with what this deck wants to do. Appear into the Abyss, I do like this card long term. It actually sees a lot of Commander play. And then Underworld Sentinel, kind of a draft trash rare that's not that great. And then a lot of weird, awkward cards like Blood Gluttons, the Fetid Imps. There's something I guess you could plummet. Some Finishing Blows. Why have Destroy a Planeswalker when there is no Planeswalker if they're matching up against each other? I mean, maybe you could use a better removal spell there. And then these weird Gloom Pangolins. I guess they can block the big, chunky green creatures. Gormans, Grasp of Darknesses, which actually do a fairly good job of removing the stuff and it kills the 3/3s, but Lost Legion, draft trash. Doesn't really block anything with that 2/3. And then, like, this deck wanted to sacrifice with your bomb, and that's like literally the only target that it wants to sacrifice, being the Serrated Scorpions. These at one point did have a buy list as well. They were going for 3 cents. But I don't think so anymore. Unlikely 8 is very awkward in this deck. Again, you can punch through the green deck, and then these really trashy Walking Corpses, which actually pair insanely bad versus the green deck. So bunch of swamps, and there's your expired arena code. So womp there. All right, so then they came out the next year with the next Arena Starter Kit, and it's funny too because they've chosen green every year, and they've I think only chosen white one year, so they're kind of biased on green being the noob color, I guess. But this one was a I don't know. Actually, I think Veto, it's hard to beat Veto because of how much Veto sees play, but with the amount of these out there, that's what I was surprised about, is just at least the Arena Starter Kit 2020, there was just an insane supply of, I mean, I have boxes and boxes still full of these. I have so much bulk from debulking. I guess it's a good way to get lands too for cheap, and what you need. So if a store needs to, excess lands, I guess Arena Starter Kits are good to break down that way. But these are kind of cool too, because I use these to ship cards. So get these little deck boxes, or we just make like new player kits for people to give out and throw away. So got your little starter kit guide and your learn to play and leave your local store to come play on Arena. And these promos were okay. We have the Cyclone Summoner that is fine, and it's pretty decent with giant tribals and whatnot for Commander, and a Dragon's Guard Elite, which I'm surprised doesn't see some sort of Pioneer deck, because this seems pretty broken in the long term if you can actually get it to work with like a blue green tempo shell. Possibly there's a Pioneer shell to be explored there. And then this also starts to be kind of an awkward deck. It wants to go this like +1/+1 counter-ish stuff, but then it really leaves that theme pretty quickly. So you have the Oran Reef Ooze. You have, I guess, the Cragplate Baloth that you can kick and not have trample and not really do anything. The Cleaver Reaper, which there isn't a lot of ways. Let's see. So if you have an Angel of Berserker enter the battlefield, you can pay 3 life. And I think if I remember correctly, there wasn't like a lot of ways to make that work. With Asmodeus Archfiend, which is weird too. The Vampire Spawns that don't really have a lot of synergy with the gaining life. We have a couple of things like could trigger gain life stuff, but unfortunately, really nothing. I really like these given indestructible. Guess there has a +1 counter draw card with Oblivion Hunger. Yeah. And then Black Dragon, which is just super awkward in this deck. We have the Scurrid Couriers. They don't have counters. They just get +2/+2. Now we do have a little more of that synergy with the Dauntless Survivors. Some vanilla cards of the Murasa Brute. And then we have, again, very awkward kicker, Might of Murasas, which end up being, in my opinion, worse than Titanic Gross. And then we have some Rabid Bites. I mean, at this point, like Hunt the Week? Not Hunt the Week. Hunt the Week. Because the +1/+1 counter and fights probably would have been a better thing to put in there for more of the synergy with your rares. And then you got some Evolving Wilds and lands. So again, it was kind of a very awkward, like, what is this deck trying to do? It's got the Dragon's Guard Elite, which, yeah, you got some pump spells to pump up and whatnot. But some spells to do it, I guess it does have the synergy. Like, this is what it's trying to do with Oblivion's Hunger with your rare, so you can, protect it, give it indestructible, and draw a card after you've cast it. But very just awkward stuff in this where it's just all over the place. And maybe that's the point, but I don't know. I think if they're going to give a new intro starter, they could have more of the synergies, and then that's where they can put in their kit too. Like, here's some synergies. This is the beauty of Magic. You can build around a certain theme. Now this one is returning Wizards and Giants to their hands, by the way. So it's nice to give them back what you stole with your Mind Flayer once you cast your Cyclonic Summoner. And then we have the Arnie Broken Brow, which doesn't really do much either. Here's another thing that wants to work with Giants. We do have a Wizard with the Archmage Emeritus, but again, there's not that many spells. Like, you have a lot of creatures in this deck, so it feels like a very awkward card for why they'd want to put this in here. With like something like Vortex Run, at least it's a Wizard. Yes, we do have some other Wizards here that start working with the not at least returning all of your Wizards back. With a Field Research, which, draw a card, but then these Servants, I mean, sure, you can make your big guys not be blocked, but then we got Warriors that get bounced back and just don't really do anything with what they're doing. Berserkers, not Wizards, not anything to do with what is Calamity Bearer work with Berserkers too. Nope, just Giants. So there's really no point to Berserkers here. Yeah, again, Run Amok, kind of weird. We got some dragons thrown in here. Sure. 3 of them. And we got some Thundering Rebuke. So what do we have for our little rare to actually trigger for drawing cards? We have Thundering Rebuke. We have, I guess, 4 Run Amoks. So, and then we have, is that it? No, we had the kicker, the Field Research. So those are your cards that are going to trigger off your Archmage Emeritus. Woo! You're going to get so much value out of that sucker. And then a lot of other awkward cards. And again, these are not like synergistic cards with your Archmage. Archmage wants to get value off of low casting costs after you've actually put it out, rather than having to, start chucking these out and being tapped out or whatnot. But again, all in all, what do you expect from something you're getting for, what's the MSRP? I think the MSRP for these are $10, and they've even raised this one up to like 13 or something. So this is one of the things that they expect stores to get at least a decent profit margin off of. Last but not least, we have this year's Arena Starter Kit, which is the most confusing out of all of them that I've opened, because it seems to be all over the place with what you're trying to do with your two showcase cards. This one they gave you, and arguably they gave you the more powerful cards that have, for promos that actually do see standard play. At the moment, I mean, Veto is great in Commander, but it didn't see the most standard play at the time. This one does. But again, I wish they would have built decks that then would have been, okay, you can build Welcoming Vampires into like a white weenie that then can turn into like an Orzhov mid-range type deck, so they'll throw cards in there, it works with that. And the same thing with the Thundering Reiju, they could have easily put like a +1/+1 counter type theme with it. So this one, they went all over the place. Let's start with the Thundering Reiju, which goes to the pack leader. Yeah, you can get a +1 counter on it, but this card really needs to synergize. This is a card that wants to synergize around a lot of cards early. And so it enters battlefield with +1 counter if you have something with 4 or greater, and then if you cast something with 4 or greater, it gets a card. We have the Creepy Puppeteer. They can work with modifying creature, like base power 4/3, but they still keep their modifications. Cool. Torberry Stomper, this one just doesn't really need to ramp into anything. That's what I was really confused about this one, because it doesn't. It's if you Flourishing Hunter, whoop-de-freaking-do. Like, this is a Stomper. This is a really awkward card as far as fixing if you need to find, because you search your library for basic land, you already got your double green, so everything in here just costs double green. I mean, there's a couple things double red. At that point, it's just weird. So it's just very, very awkward with the Torberry Stomper to be put in this deck. We have the Glory Sunrise, another cool card. Like, both of these are something I consider real-world value, too, so they're not basically just, trash rares or bulk rares. They do have some sort of value. Then we have these Stingers, Shore, Timberline Guide. There's your 1/1 counters, but kind of awkward there if that's the only thing. We have this, like, wolfish theme going on that is, who knows, and some random elf citizens for, blocking their 2/3 and not really doing anything with their Spore Crawler with no sack stuff, I guess. We have the Mounted Dreadnought. See, there's your synergy. That's what it's looking for. Look, you can have this, and then you get a +1 counter, and then you've dealt damage that turn, so it gets a +1 counter too, and then you can get your Thundering Reiju out and, do some damage right to the face. But, yeah, nothing really there. And the Flourishing Hunter, very awkward card here with Witch's Web, which is obviously to stop the flyers from the other deck. They put a lot of anti-flying and triple Abrade in here. Bray used to be actually a very highly sought-after card. Does see play in Pauper and whatnot, but at this point it's been printed way too many times. And then Burn of the Curse, same thing. It's like, hey, let's find a 5-mana removal spell in here so we can actually synergize with our little rare wolf, but it just ends up being kind of a clunky experience. I would say these ones do have like less of the, well, I don't know. There's still some really weird draft trash in here, but it does seem less of the than putting 4 2/2 vanilla zombies in the mix like they did with the first Arena Starter Kit. See what the yep. Last but not least, though, then we do have the Welcoming Vampire that does have this Extraction Specialist, which is kind of cool card because if you do have any sacrifice type cards or ETB type cards that just give value, who cares about not being able to attack or block? As long as it stays around, you can get it back. It's kind of a neat little card. I'm wondering when this card's going to actually see some decent play. Then we have a Dream Shackled Geist, which is incredibly awkward too because in like a 2-color deck without much fixing, a 2 blue and 1 is rarely going to come out on time. It's usually like a turn 4, turn 5, many times when you can find your double blue. Hullbreaker Horror. This card will never be worth money because of the Arena Starter Kits. This actually is a huge hit. This is probably the whole point to breaking these down. If Hullbreaker Horror ever does become a card over $5 or $6, then this is, of course, something you can break down. Consuming Tide. This is like more of a commander card than a 1v1 card. It's very, very awkward because each player chooses a non-land permanent they control and return all non-land permanents not chosen this way to their own hand, then draw a card for each opponent. It has more cards in hand than you. So, I mean, that's where you draw the cards, but it's so awkward with the sorcery speed. You're the one tapping out. Kind of a weird card to be playing. The Unholy Officiant. It gets +1 counters. I don't think there's anything that works with +1 counters, but they give you these backup agents too that are putting +1 counters. And we have these weird Wretched Throng that you really want to go in some sort of sacrifice theme, but hey, I guess it's a bunch of 2/1s to start blocking, you know, those green-red big stuff for a while. We have some Inspiring Overseers that maybe this is the reason why they put all that anti-flying, because you're so afraid of a 3/1 and a 2/1 flyer. Brute Suit. Kind of very awkward card. I think there's one in the back too. It's kind of, they had them off printed. And a seven tail Mentor. Again, puts a +1 together. Did I miss a +1 counter theme here? Because they really put a bunch of +1 counters. Oh, there we go. Another flash flying 5-mana card. So they do have quite a bit of flying. The Beguiler to tap down those big creatures. And I guess we can turn our flyers into 5/5s. And some kill shots and then some Fading Hopes in here. But yeah, just very, very weird, awkward type deck with Arena. So I don't know. I wish Wizards, like, this is just a joke. When, like, where do they come with value of how much? Usually a manufacturer wants to look a little bit about production cost and then base it on the price. So if it costs you X amount, you know, you need to, you know, charge Y to cover your basis of the cost production and allow your other, you know, then you have to allow your distributor to make money, then you have to allow your game store to make money. And it's just weird how they decide to price stuff. So Double Masters obviously cost less, in my opinion, than assembling all this together. And that's where they're going to make some insane profit on something like this. So, I mean, if this is justifiable and profitable for Wizards of the Coast, then this is just insanity levels of profit margins from this. So there's my rant. Just another product that doesn't exist. Another product that doesn't exist. Another product that probably shouldn't exist. I wish they would look at a better way to introduce people maybe to Arena or to local game stores and maybe mesh it. Maybe like, here's a new, just call it a starter kit and have ways to play. Oh, this is the different formats. This is the different, you know, come play at your local game store, stuff like that, not just drive everyone to Arena with these unplayable decks on Arena to have them get smashed. Another product too I'll have to rant about someday is the theme boosters. What price point are theme boosters going to be worth it? I have some distributors now that are blowing these out for 30, I think it's 35 for Strixhaven School of Mages theme boosters. There's 10 boosters in here. It puts them $3.50 per pack. And I still don't know if I can justify that. You have maybe the opportunity of getting 2 rares. Like some of these like Prismari are worthwhile to open because you get expressive iterations. I know from Forgotten Realms I opened up the black ones to get Deadly Disputes and sold a ton of them on TC Players for $4 a pop when they're going for that before the reprint in Commander Legends. But again, this is just a weird, this theme booster is just a kind of awkward, weird, kind of clickbaity product, and it seems that's what they do to new players is they get to get them right off the bat by making terrible purchases by spending money on Arena starter kits and theme boosters rather than going into where the value's at. So is what it is. There's my rant video for the day for the Rogue Deck Builder. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about Arena starter kits, if you think I'm way off. Again, there is this opportunity for arbitrage, like if ever Cyclonic Summoner or Welcoming Vampire go above the price. These are pretty cheap to actually get from distributors. I guess that's the one thing that Wizards of the Coast did do, is they made these accessible for stores to actually buy and fill up. Like they used to give these out to give us, or give stores starter kits just to give out, and now they're kind of making us pay for them, which is a bad taste in the mouth. But all in all, though, you can't actually argue with the value though of what you get for the low cost of it. But still, it's kind of a dumb product. Anyway, if you are a patron and you want to order these stupid things, I can still get 2021 and 2022. The cost of 2021 is $4. The cost of 2022 is $6. It's a great way if you need like bulk lands or just bulk cards in general. What you want to do if you want to tile your floor or something with a bunch of cards from. If everyone's ever in the market for bulk, I could put a pallet full of just what I call true bulk. After running a store for 6-7 years, we've bought so many collections, just have so many cards. Someone should come sort my cards. I've got I think I'm behind like 6 5,000 count boxes I need to go through. Oh, the joys of running and owning a store. Maybe I'll have to live stream while sorting cards. That'll make me less bored while sorting through all the collections we just got in. Anyway, I'm rambling now, so it's time to cut this video. It's been Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.